More driver testing. Just before we even get into this video, which one would you pick off the shelf? Titleist or the Cobra?
Titleist.
Would you?
Yeah.
Purely because?
I like the all black look. It's not too much going on for me.
Okay.
I like that.
So you like the sleek kind of look of this, you don't like the jazzy look of this?
No. I think that there's too much, for me there's a little bit too much going on. I don't dislike the colour scheme.
Yeah.
But I've always just sort of liked the more, the more, what's the word?
Cleaner look.
Cleaner look, yeah.
Less is more?
Yeah, almost like this is more like modern, that's more like traditional looking. And I sort of, just for my own view, I mean, there'll be people that will like this because it sort of stands out, it's loud, isn't it? Whereas this one's a little bit...
Never had you down as a traditionalist.
Have you not?
No. Guys, Dan Hendriksen here. We're at Torquay Golf Club. We got another little head-to-head for you, just all about numbers. This is not about a review of these products. It's all about the numbers. Now, what I've got is a Titleist TSi3, and I'm putting it up against a Cobra Rad Speed Driver. So this is kind of like the pro version, so I've kind of got both of them set up exactly the same. I've got 9 degree in loft in the Titleist, and I've set it at B2, so it's just fractionally sat more upright. So it's standard loft, fractionally more upright, which is enabling me to kind of keep that ball turning over for me a little bit more. So kind of like in the draw bias, should we say. Then I've set up the Rad Speed. I've set it up as standard loft, so 9 degree in the head. And again, I've set it up in draw. So again, I've just brought it up to blend in the same spec as what we've got. Weight on this one is push forward. I don't have the option to push the weight forward on the Titleist, but I'm going to bring the weight forward on this one because I think they're both kind of then low spinning model-ish. Going to go head to head, give you some numbers of how these clubs are performing, but I'm also going to give you an idea on how they look and feel to me personally. Just so we're aware, I'm using Hazardous Smoke 6.0 shafts in both of them. Now what you'll see on the Smoke in the Titleist, we've got, it's in black, and in the Cobra it's in blue. Now I didn't really know what that was at the beginning, but I've just done a little bit of research, as in I've read the shafts. And the black version is saying that it's a 6.0 at 60 grams and is a low spin model, but it's a 3.5 torque, so the twisting at the bottom of the shaft. And then in the blue version, so the Cobra's offer for it is 6.0 60 gram low spin, so all the same as what the Titleist one is offering, but it's 3.4 in the torque at the bottom. So a little bit more, maybe a fraction more rigid at the bottom. Is that right? That's less twist at the bottom.
Correct.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, it's so minute though. You wouldn't be able to notice it.
No.
No, it's nothing.
Okay, so I'm not going to notice anything.
Yeah, torque is the amount the club head twists. So if you get a cheap, like say if you work with the old Hippo drivers,
yeah,
I could almost twist it round physically with your hand. Whereas the new driver, if you got it in a stiff with a low torque, you couldn't move it.
I just want to say that I am actually a Cobra retailer, so I do stock Titleist and Cobra in the shop. But what I will say is I used to love the F8. The F7, F8 heads, I thought they were really, really nice. It was a nice clean look on the F7. There was a little bit more of a transformer-y kind of almost M2, TaylorMade M2 look on the F8. And then they went into the F9, and I've got to say, I wasn't really a big fan of the look of the head. And that was exactly the same when we went into the SZ or SZ driver. I didn't like the kind of profile of the head. However, this year, the Rad Speed, it's starting to come back to me a little bit. I'm actually really liking the look of this. I didn't used to like this kind of ridge along the top where the sort of the face blended into the actual top crown of the head. But I gotta say, first impressions looking down, I love the matte finish. I think that's really, really quite nice. And Cobra are starting to make a driver that starts, in my eyes, starts to look really, really good again. Sound, This is definitely more of a tinnier sound compared to what I'm going to get out of the Titleist TSi3. The Titleist TSi3 is definitely more of a thuddier, more of a duller sound off the face, whereas this one is very similar to what I used to get out of the old TS3. And that's one of the main reasons why I moved into the TSi3 over the TS, was purely because I preferred the sound, that duller feel off the face. Now, for me personally, I much prefer that duller sound than I do the tinnier sound, but that's just a personal preference. It's not going to be for everybody. What's always quite interesting is when you get the sound that is quite tinny, you tend to feel that with the head as well, like it almost feels super hollow. But this one is actually giving me a nice thump off the face. So it sounds tinny, but it's quite thuddy from a feel point of view. So feel-wise, really like it. Sound-wise, not so much. But overall, not let me down at all. Really like the performance from this driver, and it'll be interesting to see what the numbers are going to be like this one compared to what we're going to test now, the TSi3. Cobra is from front to back, so from face to the back edge of the driver, they very much look the same in size. I would say the profile of them looking down, very similar in the size, but as you can see, very different looking down. We've got a matte finish over here on the Cobra, which then rolls into that, that milled face that they've got going on there. And then you've got obviously a very sleek, shiny look to what we're getting out of the Titleist. Definitely Titleist for me when it comes to the initial looks looking down. However, like I said before earlier, I still do like the look of the new Cobra. Definitely a difference in noise off the face. Thuddier, more thuddy sort of feel off the face. Did you hear anything different there? Was there a definitely different
Yeah, definitely.
sound?
It was definitely a fuddier sound. The Cobra's definitely more tinny.
Yeah, and which one would you prefer if you were sort of picking those two?
Yeah, I mean, I would literally prefer
purely on sound.
Yeah, it's a slightly duller sound. I think the Cobra reminds me of when they first brought the Cobra driver out years ago. It was so loud, you could tell everyone had one. Yeah. So it's just, I mean, it's 50-50, isn't it? But for me, I just don't want everyone to look around when I hit my driver.
Yeah. Just from an observation, really, more than anything, when I look down at these two drivers, is you can see, because I've obviously got 9 degrees aloft, you can see a little bit of the face, but the Titleist does look a little bit easier to line up. Like I can see the outline of these lines here, which enables me to square that ball up to the face in the right position, or sort of central position. Now, you've got this sort of round infinity kind of vision as you look down on the Cobra driver. And it's a little bit annoying because I'm trying to look for it on the face, but because of the reflection off of it, I'm not picking that round part up. Like I want to see a little bit more of that. And if I think about a Callaway driver where you've got the flash face technology running across it, they've got that kind of round circular sort of idea on there as well, but you can really pick that up. And I remember when I tested that driver, you could really frame the ball quite nicely. For this one, it's almost like it blends too much into it and I can't really find it. I'm kind of looking for it, but I can't see it, which is, I suppose in some ways, a little bit of a negative because it's actually quite a nice spot to be able to put your golf ball against. Numbers time then with the Cobra to kick us off. So ball speed off the face, we're getting 152.8, so 153 mile an hour off the face, which is about right and about normal for what I'm getting right now. 14.5 degrees in launch off the face and spinning at 2,081 revs. So a nice low spin model, this one, certainly with that weight being pushed slightly further forward. Peaking out 36 yards high, 267 yards on an average with the carry. That is hot. That is very good. For me personally, I'm sort of a 260 sort of player. You know, to gain 267, this driver is really performing well for me. If we compare it to then the Titleist, ball speed 153.1 off the face, so almost identical, within 0.1 or 2 of each other from there. Launching it at 14 yards high. Now remember, these are both set at 9 degrees, so 14.5 out of the Cobra, 14 out of the Titleist. Spin 1,945 revs off the Titleist. Now, for some reason right now, I tend to be hitting the ball with a little bit of low spin, whether I'm just striking it a little bit higher and in the toe, that's a possibility right now. Peaking out 34 yards high and 266 in the carry, so 1 yard difference between the two of them, both of them getting some really, really good numbers from them. 108, 109 mile an hour club head speed with the Titleist compared to 109.4 with the Cobra. So they're pretty much identical with what I'm getting with them. If we just look at the Cobra with the strike performance, 3mm out the toe, 5mm high, compared to what I'm getting out of the Titleist, which is 3mm toe, 3mm high. So I'm pretty much hitting them in the same spot within 1mm of height position. I'm pretty much getting the same numbers. Now, I don't like talking about it a lot, but let's just mention the price, because the reality is that people do ask us questions about the price. I don't like talking about it, and the reason why I don't like talking about it is because these videos go out to all around the world, people all around the world. So the prices change from country to country, and then you got the online prices to the shop price. I just don't want to go down that line of getting too much bogged down with price on these, because they're going to change so much from different places. RRP with the Titleist?
499
UK money.
UK money, and we think this is 369 UK money. So there's
even if it's
£130.
379, it might be 379 maybe. I think it's 369, but
okay, so you're talking £120 difference. Yeah, I mean, that's quite a big difference.
So based on the numbers, based on the sound that you've got from in the studio with me hitting it, which one are you picking?
Yeah, I mean, if I was fitting you and the numbers I've seen and your comments, I would ask you whether you think it's worth paying the extra money for something that you slightly prefer the look of. That's really what it comes down to. Numbers-wise, they're very much to do about, you know, the same. So if you're price orientated, the Cobra's the winner for you personally. If you're looking from a visual point of view, and you know, when you frame the club against the ball and the other little bits that you like, you'd probably, if you had the money, pay the little bit extra to get the Titleist.
The downside to this test, if I'm honest, is it becomes then a price war, doesn't it? You know, you've kind of got one driver 120, 130 quid less than the other driver. Lester's absolutely right. You're kind of making your decision in the fitting probably along the lines of, yeah, I really like the Titleist. I think it looks great. It sounds great. The performance is great. The Cobra, I still like the look of it. Maybe not quite as much as what I'm liking from the Titleist. But then when the pro or the fitter drops the price at you at 369 compared to 499, I think you're instantly going to start moving down the line of possibly the Cobra. And I think that's kind of, in some ways, probably a bit of a shame, really, when it comes to these two drivers. I think they're both fantastic performing drivers, very, very different in their looks, quite different in their sound, but price, God, that's a hard one, isn't it? A really, really hard one. And I'd like to hear what you think. Obviously, you've seen the numbers head-to-head with these. I'd like to know whether you would be picking the Titleist because you like the look of it or the sound of it, or whether you would go for the Cobra because you like the benefits of that, or would you be choosing because of the price? Put your comments down below. The other thing that I want to know from you as well is, are you kind of a brand loyal type of golfer? Are you someone that is Titleist through and through and you want to have a Titleist? Are you a Cobra player and want to have the Cobra? You know, I'd like to hear your comments as well down there. Be an interesting one. For me, when it comes down to the looks, the profile of the club, I absolutely love the Titleist, and that's why I want to put it in the golf bag. But when it comes to the performance of what we're getting out of the Cobra for this year, and I've got to say the improvements for this year on previous couple of generations of drivers that they've had, I'm really impressed with this driver. Don't forget, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up if you like what you're seeing, and as always, stay safe and we'll catch up with you again soon.